here, and we grab the next one. Start streaming. There we go. Okay. Control C and over to the link. There we go. And post. Post. Dismiss. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Good morning. Good morning. Got to catch up on the news. Okay, and in that spirit, let's get over to the news. Okay. Google set to acquire Looker to strengthen its analytics solutions. And I thought it was interesting, just as a headline, that Google thought they needed to strengthen its analytics solutions. But, then I learned that Looker is a little different than Google, and what Looker provides is a unified platform for business intelligence. What happened to my marks here? I made some nice marks. Oh, anyway, maybe that's it. A unified intelligence business application. One more promise to solve all your problems, right? One more promise. Okay, and in that spirit, let's go over here to Stephen Yu, my friend Stephen Yu, and he says marketers can throw away data without regrets. Marketers have become hoarders. And we lived in a home for 22 years, raising 2 children. Yeah, I've been in a room 32 years. And why do humans gather so much stuff during their short lifespans, right? Carry a bit of hoarder genes through us all. Right, exactly. So he's downsizing and throwing stuff out, and he thought, we better look at data. And I really like this. The process of ridding yourself of data. Okay? How do you do it? First, what's your marketing plan? What are your goals? What do you need data for anyway? As I've pointed out, you have to keep old data to predict the future because all data is old data. So you need some, if you're going to try this. Now, keep in mind, keep the hubris low. I can't predict me. You can't predict me. You can't predict you. Okay, product affinity. Amazon did it with basically no data, no analytics whatsoever for years. Netflix had a really simple one, and after $1 million contest, they didn't implement that one anyway because it wasn't that much better, but it was a lot harder to run. Okay, and attribution analysis, the best solution is holdout. Stop something and see what happens. Anyway, so given that we don't really need, and product development, one of the problems with product development planning, SKU level transaction data is tricky. For those of you who haven't tried this, which we have, we do all the time, the older SKUs have been dropped out of your inventory master file. A lot of times, somebody threw them away because they haven't been for sale in years. And now you try to bring that data in. You have the transaction, but you just don't know what the thing is. So it's very, very challenging to go back more than 5 years. That's kind of our level. Now, PII, personally identifiable data, very dangerous stuff. For my money, we pretty much keep that separate from the transaction data. Okay? And Stephen has a couple of lists and says, be more, he's got a good piece on data lake, and he says, the data lake is better than basically a data landfill because with a little work, the data lake can at least be palatable. Potable? Potable is better. Okay. And large amounts of data are acquired from third-party sources and kept around indefinitely. And we're guilty of that too. We have 1990 census data, scored, of course. And then we got real creative and we said, let's take the 1990 data and compare it with the 2000 data and compare that with the 2010 data. And we found that the high school graduation rate you got to look at your own stuff sometimes. In my neighborhood has dropped. a lot by percentage. And the high school graduation rate in like the deep south has gone up a lot. Why? Well, partly because in my high school, it was like 95%, 98, 99%. Everybody graduated high school. I mean, you just didn't even imagine dropping out of high school. Nobody did. Now, some people do, as the city folks move in, as we say. And in the deep south, the graduation rate was like 65%, back in the 80s, which is basically where the 1990 census data comes from. So you move up from the 60% to 80%, man, that's a big deal. It's not going to happen in Heartland, Wisconsin. It's just not going to. So, then when we tried to model with it, it was derivative of derivative. It was the long form census, which is a sampling anyway, and at the SCF level, which is a huge area, and it just, so be careful with that. And who's updating it? Most likely to be junk. Okay. Not all data points are equally important, and some data can be easily tucked away. In short, if data doesn't fill your goals, don't bring it out to the front. And this is really what he's saying. He's not saying throw it away in a cheap data storage environment. I still shake my head and ask, why do you want to go to the cloud when people say, oh, because it's so scalable. You know how hard it is to buy a terabyte data drive? Just drive. It's like, $100. Buy all of them you want. You can store all the data from your customers forever on 1 terabyte almost. I mean, unless you're really big. And, I just don't fill terabyte drives anymore. I can fill gigabyte. I can fill a 64 gig, but I carry that on my keychain. Okay, so here he gives a nice cheat sheet. I like that. I like the conclusion. Region, be careful about that, as I mentioned. Promotion data would be much more complicated if you gathered all types of touch data from Google tags. Yeah, you can fill your computer up with a lot of promotion data, but you're better off, probably in doing some holdout testing to establish analytics. Or doing limited time testing. So we do holdout testing for 3 months, for example. You might test frequency for a while. You might see if pounding your customers with 10 emails a day diminishes their value, which it could. But that's something you can do in a study. You don't need to keep it back till the dawn of time. It gets to be a lot of nothing piled up. You need to summarize it. If your analysts insist that they must have everything all the time, then call for outside help. Amen. We have a 5-page data spec. And it says, give us your inventory master so we know what's what. Give us your transactions for 5 years or so. And give us your customer file, and that's about it. And we ask for dumps because it's easier for an IT department, actually. And Stephen, I'm sure you know this, but you didn't say it. It's a lot of times it's easier just to get everything. The IT department likes it. Just give us the file, copy it. We'll deal with it. Yeah, it doesn't always work. We got a data feed from Abacus, which is an aggregator of customer behavior through the direct marketing channels. And it was like 2,000 records per customer, and it was a little bit much. Anyway, okay, on upward and onward. Okay, personalized customer experience data. And this was an interesting one because there's some new companies coming out. He calls this stuff FinTech, which I had never heard that term before. You always have to have a new buzzword. FinTechs, like these companies, which I've never heard of either, who specialize in banking data. Okay, I try to avoid banking data because banks don't know what's going on. And consequently, the way they manage their business is they raise their account fees, they make it expensive to transfer money, they change when the interest rates change, they lower them. If they go down, they lower them slowly. If they go up, they immediately charge you for it. So, he has it right in banking. There's a seemingly never-ending series of news about fraud and manipulation of markets, creativity in finding new fees, poor customer service at hotlines, clunky processes, and you name it. Think of Deutsche Bank, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo if you need any examples of scandal. We talked about that last time. Okay, but one of the things I like, he says, let's do the basics. And the basics are the same as they were when I was a kid and learned about banking and how they keep your money safe and all the rest of it. Customer expectations hierarchy. This is great. This is great. Why is it great? The reason it's great is it isn't Maslow, which is dopey in terms of the way the way real humans behave. Check out Viktor Frankl if you want an alternative view of humanity. On the other hand, customers are different because it's all voluntary. And this is really right. It worked. Make it work. Make it not too hard. Okay? Not too hard to buy from you. And then if you can make it fun, that'd be great. And don't make it too annoying. It's not just there is an annoying factor in here someplace. It's not just meets needs and effective, but my wife was trying to fill out something and she went through all these forms and gave the last name of our pet and all this other stuff. And then they had to validate her email. And this was so she could buy from them. Not just make it hard, make it impossible. Okay, so I'm really liking this, and I'm going to go get in touch with Thomas because I think that was great. That was an excellent, great point of view. Make it easy. Meet expectations, I mean the minimum. Let me buy from you. Then make it easy, not too hard. Then make it fun if you can. But don't make it fun first and then empty my shopping cart because I got a phone call. I'm John Miglosh. Have a great day. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Likes are nice. Share means you care. Bye-bye.